Hello, and welcome to my review for Death's Gambit, a side-scrolling 2D action RPG Souls-like game that features brutal combat. When you play this game, you really feel the weight of the combat. It really feels like you're really hitting someone, especially on the PlayStation 5 DualSense controller. It feels like whenever your sword really makes an impact, you kind of feel that crunch. You can also feel the weight of the combat itself being presented to you. Whenever an enemy hits you, you're going to be knocked back pretty far, and whenever a bigger enemy hits you, it's going to hurt, it's going to stagger your character. You can also stagger break people through the use of the poise system, which is also pretty good. It allows for more diverse combat between smaller and bigger enemies. The classes are very, very diverse and very, very unique. No class is limited to using only one weapon, which I really like. You can switch between the classes freely all in one character by just getting the weapons and implementing the stats into your build. The starter classes are as follows. Soldier, a longsword wielding all around character, and he's good if you enjoy slower strategic melee gameplay. Assassin, a nimble fighter that uses daggers. Blood Knight, a warrior who uses an axe. Wizard, a typical mage. He can use different elements to turn them into a spell to unleash any element upon the enemy. Noble, a halberd using, strength scaling, strategic character. The Sentinel, a great sword wielding warrior. And the Acolyte of Death, a scythe wielding cultist kind of character. When it comes to the story, I haven't made it very far yet, but it has been pretty good so far. The story kept me captivated, and it succeeded where it needed to. It did fall short in a few areas at the start, however. The opening doesn't make much sense. You're kind of a guy who just died and came back to life, and your purpose is now to be discovered at the current moment, so maybe that will be pieced together more in the future in the story. The soundtrack for the game is amazing so far, one of the best I've ever heard from a 2D game. It feels like the music was composed by someone who really wanted to make the world feel dark, gloomy, as if you woke up in a world that just stopped being alive. You woke up in a world that once had life in it, but now everything's destroyed. It's a very good premise for the game to be set around, and the soundtrack certainly fits the theme. When it comes to balance, you have many different stats to build your character around. You have Vitality, gives you more health. Strength, used for bigger, bulkier weapons. Finesse, used for smaller, more dexterous weapons. Endurance will give you the stamina to swing your weapon. Intellect is used for spells. Haste is used for cooldown on abilities. On the topic of abilities, there are many in the game to customize your character around, all fitting a weapon. Or, some abilities do not need weapons, but they often do not deal damage like the others do. An example is Rupture, usable by the Greatsword. It is a simple stab that causes the enemies to bleed for 16 seconds. It requires 4 strength, and you also have to have a Greatsword to use it. That's a great example of one of the abilities. But one that doesn't require a weapon is Fortitude. Creates a magical barrier around your character that reduces damage by 50% for 7 seconds. It only requires 8 intelligence. These abilities provide a gateway for customization and individuality in character design. The final verdict is this game has outstanding combat and soundtracks with a slightly lackluster story, and overall, it is a great game. The area design and other topics I have not touched on yet, I have left for you to figure out for yourself. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching the video.